This week on DineDrinkCLE, the podcast.
But he saw an opportunity with Nighttown, and he's going in. It's a big deal. Edwins is going to change in terms of the menu and the scope. Basically, it's going to be kind of sort of three places in one. What is not going to happen, though, at Nighttown was also famous for live music.
So it's really on track to become this national brand. She would love it to be a household name, but very proudly from Cleveland, has no interest in leaving Cleveland, wants to bring the money back to Cleveland. And I just think it's really cool that we have this local brand we can support, too.
What about you?
I like a good filet. If I can get a good filet, that's fantastic. And you know it's a good one when they don't have to wrap it in bacon, because a lot of people will do that.
Seen on social media. Maybe you guys know more about this, and I think actually steak might do this.
The gold.
Too. Yes. What is that? Why would anybody want that? Why would
just to flex on Instagram, because it doesn't really taste like anything.
It's gonna be like at least minimum $100. I'm Josh Duke.
And I'm Alex Darus.
And you're either watching or listening to DineDrinkCLE, the podcast, where each and every week we are joined by Cleveland's best and brightest food experts, insiders, and influencers talking all things food and drink here in the Northeast Ohio area. What are we talking about today, Alex?
Lots of exciting news to talk about today. Kind of the biggest foodie news of the week is that Edwins is moving into the former Nighttown space. So we'll get the scoop on that. We're going to talk about cleveland.com's Best of Steak contest, and a little bit about the 5-year anniversary of a local woman-owned food brand called Terranean Spices, Spreads, and Snacks.
As always, lots to dig into. And first, talking about Edwins Big Move, we got Marc Bona here. Welcome, Marc.
Hey, guys.
Hi. So, Nighttown closed last year after a reopening, and now Edwins is moving in. So what's going on?
Yeah, hopefully this will close the revolving door for good. Nighttown, iconic spot, opened in 1965, closed during the pandemic. Brendan Ring ran it for quite a few years. And then the owners of Red, the steakhouse, came in. They renovated it. They turned it upside down. It just never found its footing. It closed after less than a year. Now, Brandon Krostowski from Edwins is moving the, I also want to say, iconic Edwins fine dining French restaurant. Of course, those who don't know, Edwins is a second chance dining place. Basically, Brandon and his team go into prisons with an educational program. They train recently incarcerated individuals for the fine dining, every aspect of fine dining. He also has other businesses, hospitality, restaurants, and has done a fantastic job. But he saw an opportunity with Nighttown, and he's going in. It's a big deal. Edwins is going to change in terms of the menu and the scope. The space is bigger. Nighttown is bigger than Edwins. So basically, it's going to be kind of sort of three places in one. When you walk into Nighttown, to the left will be a brasserie. This will be the most casual of the three settings. To the right is what Brandon is calling a salon. This is kind of sort of an upscale French type of bar. He's really looking at the cocktail crowd on that side. And in the back will be fine dining. So he's hoping to capture people maybe after a theater or after a college basketball game or any college crowds to go into the brasserie. And he's got fine dining in the back, seats about 50 to 60. All in all, he's going to have just a much bigger space, for his new restaurant.
Yeah, and so that back space will be more the Edwins, and then is the front space kind of, because Edwins 2 is technically moving over as well, right?
Right. That's a good point, because Edwins 2, his offshoot also in Shaker Square, also is going to be closing. That's going to be converted into an adjacent building right behind Nighttown, and that will be a cigar bar. So that's the cool thing there. Really, so just on the horizon, a lot of big changes for Edwins and Nighttown.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it'll just be really sad for, I guess, the Shaker Square neighborhood, because it's been there for so long. But what's going on with Brandon's other, because he has more than just these two restaurants, his other ventures? And
yeah, some things stay the same and some things will change. So staying the same will be his life skills campus, really, for the folks who work there, who train there. That's got a library. He's got places where they live. The child care center, which is absolutely so critical to all of these folks who are working there, the ones who have kids, that stays in the neighborhood. That stays where it is. The butcher and the bakery also, which is a great training ground, two very different aspects of the culinary world, those also will remain. What is not going to happen though at Nighttown was also famous for live music, and he's not going to embrace that. He said, "I'm not shutting the door on it, but that's not what we're about. There will be occasional, there's going to be moments where Brandon will go with the vibe. So if he feels the Friday night crowd is casual enough and wants that live band out on the patio, he's going to do that. So there may be some opportunities there. But all in all, his ultimate goal, and I think this is interesting because we really don't have anything like this. He is open about saying we're going after a Michelin star. That is a very, very big deal. Let's get it right. And he's very goal oriented. And I've known Brandon for the better part of a decade. And I would say when he puts his mind to something and says, I want this, or we're going to do this, he comes through. So you can agree or disagree with him, but he does put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah. And I think like it would be great for them to do the Michelin star. I know a few episodes ago, we had Paris on kind of talking about how there aren't any in Ohio, I think, in general. So it does seem like if anyone's going to do it, it could be Brandon. So.
Yeah, and as you talked about, this is two kind of iconic properties. So for him to move into the space, I wonder how much of the Nighttown, I guess, vibe that he's going to try to incorporate. Sometimes when people move into such an iconic location, they'll try to incorporate or include or preserve something, whether it's an aesthetic, whether it's a shout out on the menu, anything like that.
There may be something like that, but I really don't think, he made a point of telling me, I am not recreating Nighttown. So I think he's really turning this in. He's putting his own stamp on the new Edwins.
As he should, yeah.
Right.
So the current Edwins in Shaker Square will close, I think, sometime
I want to say February 18th, right around there. I
think
okay,
that's it. Yeah, the transitioning over in like February. So
late February, early March. That's a target date, and we don't hold people to openings because they're beholden to permits and a lot of paperwork and things like that. So, but in the near future.
Yeah, it seems like people too, like just on social when we posted the story, had mixed reactions. But I think some people, we all have our favorite spots. I mean, you'll hear me talk about missing Sokolowski's till I'm like blue in the face, but it's like kind of nice to see, okay, things close, things evolve. I think things evolving is good because that's how things can stick around longer, but it is, I think people are sad to see it leave Shaker a little bit.
Yeah. That's all, like you said, that's always going to be the case, but with Nighttown being so iconic and there being a void there in that area now, the people in that area are now going to be looking forward to being close to Edwins. That's super exciting from that perspective. So,
yeah. And you said he's going to do a little bit of menu revamping. And
yeah, he said he's going to keep some of the Edwins classics on the menu, but I got the impression that much of what's on the menu will be changing. So that'll be interesting to see down the line as well.
Very exciting. We got to plan a DineDrinkCLE dinner night out at Edwins.
For sure.
I've eaten there many times, and I would absolutely be all for that. We have to talk to our editor to pick up the bill.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay, Alex, you just did a piece on Terranean spices, spreads, and snacks. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So Terranean Spices, Spreads, and Snacks, formerly Terranean Herbs, is a Cleveland-based food company from Tina Tremont. She's a first-generation Lebanese American, and they kind of specialize in za'atar. So do you know what za'atar is?
No, I don't. I was going to ask.
So technically, za'atar is like an herb. It's kind of similar to cilantro or thyme, but it has its own flavor from some kind of essential oil that's in it. But how we kind of know za'atar is a spice blend. So like in Terranean's za'atar blend, because they kind of they just call it za'atar anyways, because it has the plant in it, but then it has sumac, sesame seeds, and salt. So it's got a really herbaceous flavor. And Tina was telling me Lebanese, Middle Eastern, Arabic households, they kind of put it on everything. Like she said, most households you'll walk into, they have a thing of olive oil mixed with za'atar just to drizzle on literally anything. So she kind of realized around 2020 that people were starting to get an interest in za'atar. I think she was actually at like a a Yard House, like national chain restaurant. And she was like, what the heck? They have za'atar on the salad. Like, why? Because she was bringing it back in her suitcase from Lebanon. So she started Terranean with the spices. Now they have olive oil spread, so kind of that condiment I just described, but pre-made, and the pita chips. And they're located at a Jasmine Bakery, which is in Cleveland, and that is the headquarters for Aladdin's Eatery.
Yeah.
So where they make all of the Terranean products, they make all of the pita bread and spice mixers and everything for Aladdin. So, and Tina's father-in-law is the owner. So it's kind of a cool, like, family spin-off business, but it's just, I think it's really awesome. I love all her products. I think it's cool. She has a full... she employs a full women staff. Most of them are immigrants from Lebanon or other places in the Middle East. So it's kind of cool because they come here, they might not speak English, but they can work with familiar ingredients and kind of get this sense of whatever.
Yeah, sounds pretty authentic. And I think you might have mentioned, or she might have mentioned on her website at least, that she imports some of those ingredients directly from another
Lebanon. Yeah,
Lebanon, and another all-woman organization. Do
You
know
it's like a farm. She sources directly from farms. I think she has some connections that way, but not only the za'atar, because you can't get it here, but the sea salt that she uses in the mixes, they sell the salt, and on the chips is like hand harvested, unrefined, like ancestral methods. So it's very like distinct salt, but you literally can't get it here. So she's like, I'm supporting people in Cleveland too, but also these farmers in Lebanon,
which is honestly kind of awesome.
Yeah,
because like you said, like, where are you going to get that anywhere? And also, when you were talking about 2020, it's so crazy to me how 2020 seems to have been such a pivotal moment for so many businesses to start and end. It just seems like
it was a fork in the road. People were like, I'm sick of what I mean, she's worked in 15 years in basically Mediterranean, Middle Eastern food. She's worked for Aladdin's. She runs a blog called Your Lebanon. So she kind of would start by taking these recipes that she grew up being really familiar with, but they were only in Arabic, and kind of translating them to English. So she's always had a huge passion for that. But I think, like 2020, it was like, oh, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, and not only that, but would you call this, because it sounds like when you're describing the herbal nature of it, would be on the healthier side of like snacks and condiments? Is that correct? Is that a good
I think
assessment?
For sure. I mean, these chips, like, this is a spicy one. They have cinnamon sugar ones too. It's like I was eating it like a dessert. And the spices and stuff, it's like just kind of makes you want to, because she has different spices too, from just the za'atar or the spicy za'atar. She has sumac, she has like Mediterranean fish, steak, chicken seasoning. And it's just like, I think with anything, if you have like ingredients you're excited about, you're gonna want to experiment with them and eat healthier with them. And I think, like, I actually at Aladdin's, they put her pita chips on their fattoush salad. So it's like, I love fattoush salad is like the best for me because it's like eating chips, but it's a salad. So it's like, it's very delicious.
Yeah, it definitely sounds way healthier than some Doritos. Okay, but do you
eat them. Yes. No. And and the pita chips, they're a lot different from other pita chips, because she said that a lot of mass market produced pita chips kind of use a flatbread that's thicker, but pita actually has like it's twice baked and it has 2 layers, so it's very thin, crispy. These are the spicy ones, I think, right? Which are very good. Let's see, like in a hummus.
The za'atar, that's basically the seasoning.
Yeah.
And the herbal. Yeah, that's really, really good. It's really popping.
Yeah.
It's not too spicy. It's got kind of like a kick that comes
at the end
as you kind of swallow it, which is good. I love this.
Yeah.
Kind of light and airy too.
Yeah, so very exciting. They are celebrating 5 years this month, and it's just really cool to see like this. They're in over 500 stores. I think she said over 900 home goods. You can buy it in more than half the states in the U.S. And so it's really on track to become this national brand. She would love it to be a household name, but very proudly from Cleveland, like has no interest in leaving Cleveland, wants to bring the money back to Cleveland. And I just think it's really cool that we have this local brand we can support too.
Absolutely.
And now we're joined by Pete Chakerian. Hi, Pete.
Hey, friends. What's
Welcome.
up?
So the best of team, we are doing the best steak in Greater Cleveland. Tell us the details of this contest.
Well, it's the next in a long line of best of Cleveland contests that we have, where we ask our readers where to get the best food item. This particular one is all about steak. So we're asking our readers to come at us with their favorite steak in the greater Cleveland area. And it runs very similar, this contest, to past ones, except that you do have to register for an ID on cleveland.com. So basically you give us your email address, but it's a free process, and you register for that account, drop in there and give us your hottest take, and we see if it sizzles.
Yeah, oh, that was a good one. But no, I think it's so very good timing, because I know we just kind of talked about the food trend story, and steakhouses were huge last year. I think we got Steak in Tremont, Artist in Lakewood, Oliva downtown, just a few of them. And then Cleveland has so many classic steakhouses too. So there's so many options.
I mean, for me, it's funny that this is coming up, because literally last week I was on here saying, you know, steak from Tremont opening last year is definitely one of my favorite new locations. And so, yeah, I'm kind of like, my experience with their steak was phenomenal, and I would imagine they would be a contender, but who knows what the audience is going to say. What about you guys?
So this is what I want to know. What is like the criteria for a best steak? Because is it like a steak that is done up like with a sauce, or is it literally just the meat, seasoned salt and pepper, cooked amazing?
I think the answer is yes. Yeah. You know, I think it's basically subject to what the readers feel when they vote for their favorite. And people do them in all sorts of different ways. So the sky's the limit in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Is there a particular style of steak that you guys prefer?
I like a dry-aged steak because I'm bougie.
Explain further. What is the
The
detail?
way I'm going to explain this is going to gross you out, but they literally take steak and they like put it in a controlled temperature for like 30 days and let it like control rot on the outside basically. And then you cut the rot off, and then inside is like a delicious like marbled piece of meat.
Oh.
And it's expensive.
Sounds like it would be.
But it's really good.
What about you?
I like a good fillet. If I can get a good fillet, that's fantastic. And you know it's a good one when they don't have to wrap it in bacon, because a lot of people will do that. Sometimes they do it
served like
flavor.
That too?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on where you go. It's not as prominent, I think, maybe as it used to be. If people are being a bit more purist about it now.
I feel like that's like a 90s thing.
Well, it is, but it's funny how, you know, some people still expect that. Like, there are certain things that are just like cut and dried, you know, and that seems to be one of them, especially with people who go to steakhouses frequently. They have a certain expectation, and it's sort of a timeless one.
Yeah.
So,
well, I also think it's just so different, because then, like I'm saying, you could get a dry-aged tomahawk $160 steak from Marble Room, or you could go, I'm pretty sure like Prosperity Social Club one day of the week does like a full steak dinner for $20, and both are good. Like I would probably like both. So it's like you have to pick. There's so many factors.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's definitely I also like a good fillet, but for me, it's my personal journey with steak is I just grew up like you don't get red in your steak at all. But then as I got older and I got more, hold on. As I got older and I started to mature, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try a little bit of blood. So I started going medium well. And then from there, I was like, you know, this is pretty good. What if I took another step? Long story short, I'm all the way down to medium rare for sure.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that you've grown up.
Yes.
There's actually relief at the end of your story.
I know,
for a
you're
second.
No.
I thought I was going to walk out of here with trauma.
Are you like
again.
a steak sauce guy? Like, are you like an A1?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would like that, but honestly, I prefer somebody to just cook it to an extent and a degree where there's enough just the natural juice on it or whatever, where it's just delicious. I would prefer that, honestly, as long as there's an excess of juicy juices.
So outside from steak, where else do you like to get steak?
I don't really like. It's not like my go-to menu item anywhere, but yeah, to be honest, so it just would be steak. What about you?
Interesting. Well, I don't know. There's like, I think Red the Steakhouse is a classic. Okay. There's like Cabin Club in Westlake. Strip in Avon is really good.
That was going to be my vote.
Okay.
My parents live in Avon, so that's like our special occasion place. Marble Room, Cleveland Chop. There's like a million places. Like there's literally a million. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, but when you find something that you really like, I love Strip. Like that would be the first thing in my mind before I maybe would go anywhere else. That doesn't mean that the other places don't have great, options, but that's just, once you find something you really like, you're in the zone.
And so it has to be like a steak, like a piece of meat. It can't be like a steak sandwich or like a beef tartare.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what we got to get Josh on next, is beef tartare. And
But I've seen on social media, maybe you guys know more about this, and I think actually steak might do this
the
too.
gold.
Yes. What is that? Why
It's
would
just
anybody
edible
want
gold.
that? Why would
Just to flex on Instagram because it doesn't really taste like anything.
it's gonna be like at least minimum $100 surplus of what it would have been probably.
No, edible gold is a little, it's not like gold.
on a steak.
Yeah, but like,
Okay.
I don't know.
No, it is gold. Gold
It is,
edible.
but it's
Yeah.
not. It's edible gold. It's not like the price of gold. Like,
Well, why?
it's
It
not
might
like
be.
the federal price
It might
of
be
gold.
though, because it's
No,
just
it's
gold.
not. I bought it. It's cheaper. I got little sprinkles.
But gold is edible.
That's funny that you
It's
mentioned
edible gold.
No,
Not all gold,
gold
is edible. You can't eat a brick of gold.
Fact check us on that. I don't really know.
But yes, no. You can get your steak wrapped in gold at steak.
Yeah.
Haven't done it.
And I don't
I've
know
eaten
why
edible
you would
gold.
do
It
that.
doesn't taste like anything.
Right. Okay. Yes, I do get the Instagram value of that. I guess sure, but like you're
They
literally,
call it steak bling. Steak.
I can't imagine that's like tasty at all. Like, do they do something to the edible gold to
No,
make
it's
it
just like look. It literally tastes like nothing.
I've got a comedic comeback here. Like in the 90s, Goldschlager was the thing
Oh.
to drink, and they had edible gold in that. So
I used to
That's
like
I guess,
that.
the joke is that everything comes back around.
This is true. This is true.
Oh yeah, like a shot of Goldschlager with your steak, your golden whatever steak from steak.
That sounds gross.
That actually sounds that does sound like something I would do.
I
That
remember,
and
like,
flex on Instagram.
But you would do that.
I would do that,
You
but
would.
I would do that knowing that this is kind of embarrassing and not a good idea. I would do that.
But not all gold is edible.
Okay.
Disclaimer. Like, don't listen to Josh.
Yeah, don't eat gold at home, kids. Please.
Okay. All right. So best steak in Cleveland. Let us know. Let the best of, or Northeast Ohio anyway. Let us know. Let the best of Cleveland team know, and we are gonna find out who has it.
Yeah, by January 20th.
Yes.
So
Yeah, January 20th. Make sure you register at cleveland.com. You give us your email, and you have access to send us all of those votes, and we're looking forward to checking them out.
I know. I can't wait to see the 20 to 25 you guys end up with. I feel like it's going to be a good array.
I'm sure that it will be.
Thanks so much for listening to or watching DineDrinkCLE, the podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at DineDrinkCLE and subscribe to our newsletter at cleveland.com/newsletters.